Hello there, my friends. It's that time again when we get together on another session of Nothing But the Truth. On this channel, we deal with frequently asked questions, the sort of questions that are troubling when it comes to our religion of Christianity. So we deal with controversial issues that confront many, and we try to address them in a way that leaves people more or less satisfied with the content that we offer. Today, we are going to be dealing with one of Christianity's most difficult questions, which is, why did God bother to torture himself in order to forgive? Why wasn't it necessary for him to just forgive? He is God after all. Why did he have to die on the cross, shed his blood? Why was that necessary? Couldn't he just, as God, he is capable of doing anything? Well, let's begin right there with the question of, can God do anything? The answer to that is no. God can't do certain things. Let's look at 2 or 3 examples of what God cannot do. God cannot lie. That's one example of the things God cannot do. God cannot hate his creation. There's a school of thought that says there's 2 types of people there. Those who bend their knee to God and say, let your will be done on earth. And those to whom God says, let your will be done, because they resist God in every front. So God loves us to the point where he will even open the gate of hell if that is what we have chosen. So yes, God is God, but he's not a God who does everything. Let's now move to the question of mercy and justice. You've heard people speak about mercy and justice. Mercy speaks of forgiveness where one actually doesn't deserve to be forgiven. It speaks of compassion that is shown to someone who has broken a law or who has transgressed in one way or another. That's mercy. What about justice? When we speak about justice, when we speak about being just, we're speaking about equitableness. We're speaking about fairness. You've heard many times when we define the word righteousness as right standing with God. When we speak of justice, we're talking about right standing with men. Now, in many, many religions, there is that tension that exists between the contradiction that comes in every time we speak about mercy and justice. But it's only in Christianity that this particular tension is actually resolved. In most other religions, you hear of a God that is just and a God that forgives. But yet, the issue of what has been transgressed and broken is never resolved. It's only in Christianity. And I'm going to give you an example to illustrate my point. If you came to me and I were to lend you my motor vehicle, for instance, and upon bringing it back after use, you confess that you bumped my car. Fact of the matter is, I would want it to be fixed and repaired. Now you would plead with me and say, look, I don't have any money. All that I have is to support my children. I cannot do this. At some point, I will then give in and decide that I'm going to show mercy and forgive you. Now, the fact of the matter is, even though I have forgiven you, the damaged vehicle still needs to be fixed. If I forgive you, then it means I've shown you mercy. But the point is, justice has not been done because the car that was damaged still remains damaged. At the point at which I've chosen to show mercy, I then decide to dip into my own pocket to fix the vehicle that you have broken. At the point at which I get the vehicle fixed, justice is now done, because what was wronged has been righted, even if it meant that I, the one that was wronged, am the one that had to carry the can. I'm the one now that had to take the responsibility to fix what you have broken. That is exactly how God decided to deal with the issue of sin. Remember at the beginning, I said to you there are three things that God cannot do. The third thing that God cannot do is God cannot ignore sin. God, being a God of justice, the God of Christianity that is, being a God of justice, he couldn't let sin go without punishing it. But at the level at which he loves us, he is also a father. And because he's a God who's just, he punished sin at the cross of Calvary. Because he's a loving father, he took it upon himself to offer up his own son to correct the wrongs that had been done. So when we speak about the cross, we're speaking about a place where there is an intersection between the justice of God and the mercy of God. So the wrong that had been committed by humankind who are rebellious was corrected by a loving father who decided to give his own son to punish the sin that had been committed by us. So instead of mercy being shown at the expense of justice, what he actually did was to show mercy through his justice. So mercy and justice are performed through each other instead of one, being done at the expense of the other, which is basically my question when I look at other religions like Islam, for instance, when they say Allah forgives, but he didn't have to offer up anyone, like Christ, for instance, who had to die at the cross. And many people actually mock and say, why did he have to punish himself? Why did he have to torture himself? Wasn't it possible for him to just forgive? No, I've now just explained, and I'm sure you realize that in many instances where someone wrongs you, it means that something has been transgressed, something has broken. And when something has been broken, someone needs to fix it. Because without fixing it, then we are not achieving nothing in true life. If you liked this video, I hope that you can share it with your friends and family. And if you can just press that notification button so that you are able to view our future videos. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed this, and I hope that you have too. See you next time.